Sorry if I'm a bit late.
No probs, Dad. Still getting ready.
This butter's only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
That's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Brilliant. How do they do that?
I don't know, Dad. I'm not a dairy farmer. Just a woman trying to go on a date. Do I look okay?
I don't know. I'm not a stylist. I'm just a dad trying to help his favourite daughter go on a date.
You only have one daughter.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.
So a very good afternoon to you, and you're welcome to James Stephens Park in Ballina, where the next game up in round 2 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Football Championship is almost ready to begin. And on this Sunday lunchtime, it is the Stephenites against Claremorris in Group 1, with so much at stake in terms of how the rest of the season is going to pan out for both of them. Claremorris, well, they got off to a winning start at home to Davits last weekend. Ballina had no such luck away to Ballintubber, so no doubt all the pressure on the Stephenites here on home ground this Sunday afternoon. Before we get underway, we'll take a quick check on the teams, beginning with the Stephenites, and the graphic you'll see on your screen right now, well, it really does bear very little resemblance to the Ballina starting team we were handed just a few moments ago. Suffice to say, there are plenty of changes. The main headlines in terms of team selection: number 18, David O'Mahony, comes into the Stephenites defence in place of David Tighe. Both Irwins, Frank and Jack, are out of the starting team for the Stephenites. In come Rory Moran and Kevin Newell, while up front, also into the forward line, comes Keith Tighe, with Cian Walnut, the player who drops to the subs bench. So there's a lot of positional changes as well that will become apparent as the game goes on, with Pádraig O'Hora wearing 4. He's expected to play in the half-back line. We're expecting him to pick up Conor Diskin, if the truth be told, while in the forward line, We'll fill you in as we go along, but the main news is that neither of the Irwin brothers, Frank or Jack, start for the Stephenites. So just taking a quick look then at the Ballina subs bench. If the players who have dropped out of the starting team are tagged and available, then Ballina Stephenites should be able to call on the likes of Cian Walnut in terms of a replacement for their forward line, with David Tighe as well dropping to the bench. While on the Claremorris side, well, we'll take a look at the Claremorris team, or we'll run you through it in just a moment. We're going to pause here first at James Stephens Park for a moment's silence in memory of the late Paddy Prendergast. So the late, great Paddy Prendergast remembered here at James Stephens Park. In terms of the Claremorris starting team, 2 late changes. Number 18, David Gannon, and number 29, James Stretton, come into the Claremorris defence, with Kieran Gill and Matthew Mackin, the players who drop out. As we stand for our own Nevian. So as you can see, some of the crowd still making their way in through the entrance gates over to our right hand side. Everyone ready to go. Our linesman this afternoon, Sean Tolan from Bonnyconlon, John Walker from Kilcommon, and our referee is Paul Lydon from Kilshaw. Nigel Reid from Knockmore alongside me. Nigel, Ballina Stephenites raging hot favourites to win this game and get their first win on the board, but no doubt who all the pressure is on either. Claremorris with 2 points in the bag. They're one win away from the quarter-finals. All the pressure on the Stephenites.
Yeah, Claremorris in the past have flattered to deceive. Claremorris in the past have flattered to deceive at times. Huge game for them. They win today, they're into a quarter-final. Ballina, lost by a few points above them. Ballintubber win their game against Davits today, which is expected. It goes down to the last games. Ballintubber won't have as much to play for. So Ballina will want to win and want to win by a few points here today to make sure their route is clear.
So away we go. Ballina Stephenites managed, of course, by the former Claremorris manager, Niall Heffernan. Ray Kennelly from Hollymount in charge of Claremorris this season. And Ray Kennelly already having experienced his first championship win as Claremorris manager at home to Davits last Saturday night. A late point from David Gannon making the difference. There's a very strong breeze here at James Stephens Park. It'll be behind Claremorris's backs in this first half. You'll have seen from the throw-in that Niall Heffernan has positioned Kieran Sweeney, number 11, and Dylan Thornton, number 10, at midfield for the home side, as an early ball is delivered long into Liam Welsh, the Claremorris centre forward. Next man to get on the ball is Sean Diskin, younger brother of Conor Diskin, but a big man as well. Ball is sent all the way back the field to Paddy Barry, the Claremorris number 3. And here's James Stretton, back from suspension and back in the Claremorris team, wearing number 29. One of their best defenders, probably their best man marker. Ball is sent long in towards Liam Welsh, and he's been tripped and he's been fouled, and that will be a free in to Claremorris. First foul committed by Sam Callanan, the Stephenites number 6. But just to give the viewers an idea, Nigel, numbers mean very little, because both Niall Heffernan and Ray Kennelly have mixed it up all over the field.
Yeah, no, Mike, they didn't make our lives easier today. But interesting, Ballina, of course, big sprinkling of youth in their backline, in particular Kieran Boland and Sam Callanan both played on the Mayo minor under-17 team last year. Two fine prospects, and Sam early doors has been asked questions by Liam Walsh. Liam Walsh is moving him all over the field, starting at centre half forward, but moving him back into the corner. Got inside him there, and Sam just fouled.
And this is a first free for James Shaughnessy. He struck that beautifully. Breeze behind him, and it flies over the bar. He's a really good free taker. Hit 4 points, 3 from play against Davits last weekend. He's wearing 10, but he could pop up anywhere, and that's the lead for Claremorris inside the first couple of minutes. Man on the ball for the Stephenites is Porrick O'Hora, wearing 4, fit again. Didn't start against Ballintubber last weekend due to a knee injury, but has recovered sufficiently to start in the Ballina backline. And what a big boost that is for the Stephenites. Ger Cafferty as well, also back on duty. He's also recovered from injury, the former Mayo All-Star, as David O'Mahony gets a touch of the ball. Most players on the field right now are inside the Claremorris half. That's a poor ball by O'Mahony, easily cut out back there, and a chance for Claremorris to build from the back with Porrick Cummins, their spring-heeled left half back, to Shaughnessy, the experienced number 10, rolls it down the line to Gerard Cummins, goal scorer against Davits. Lovely, neat combination play. James McCormick to Porrick Cummins. Hand pass is fired across the face of goal, picked by James Stretton, who'd made the run forward. Claremorris recycle it. Quick hands for Gerard Cummins. Here's the danger man, Conor Diskin, and Conor Diskin drills it high and over the bar. He got away from O'Hora. That's the matchup. We're all waiting to wait and see how it plays out. And Claremorris lead by 2 points to no score, and that's the first of the day from the man in form, Conor Diskin.
It is. Ballina haven't got up to the speed of the game yet. Again, for the viewers, number 21 Rory Moran, number 10 Dylan Thornton, both played on the Mayo under-20s this year, and number 15 is Ballina, and number 15 Luke Doherty was on the Mayo senior panel. So plenty of talent on show on both teams, but Claremorris showing it so far. That's a beautiful ball from Shaughnessy with the outside of the left to Gerard Cummins, who takes it in front, calls the offensive mark. James Shaughnessy has started this game like he means business, and Gerard Cummins kicks off the mark high and over the bar. This is some start by Claremorris. We've played less than 4 minutes
and the visitors, the outsiders, the 3-1 outsiders, have raced into a 3-point lead.
We all know about outsiders this weekend, Mike, already, especially in not more, but the Ballina backs have got to get tighter. And again, there's no pressure here in the midfield area from Ballina whatsoever. They haven't got up to speed at all.
So Ballina Stephenites already with some catching up to do as Kieran Sweeney goes driving at the Claremorris goal. Former champion boxer. He's a very tough man. Keeps himself in great shape. And despite the fact he's wearing 11, he's at midfield today. Frank Irwin out injured. Jack Irwin among the Ballina Stevenite substitutes. Now this is better from Ballina. Rory Moran plays a 1-2 with Kevin Newell. Now Sean Regan, the hurler, very talented hurler, plays with the county team. Nice ball from Sweeney, right in front of Evan Regan. There's the sidestep. Regan winds up and shoots. And there's the opening score from the Stephenites. Took them almost 5 minutes, but they're up and running. Evan Regan.
Yeah, so all the old magic still there from Evan Regan. Sells a dummy. Porrick Cummins goes flying past him, but you know, he made sure the kick, he got plenty behind it into the breeze. Great fetch out in the midfield by young Dylan Thornton. Fine prospect, this young guy.
Dylan Thornton, so impressive against Galway in that Connacht under-20 semi-final earlier this year. Sets Ballina on the attack. Here on Sweeney, just slipped. Coming off his shoulder is Regan. Good first touch. And Evan Regan, as Nigel said, turns on the magic. 2 points from Regan in a minute, and that lead is already being wiped out.
Yeah, but both points have been made by the man you spoke about there, Kieran Sweeney. He's the guy that has got the game by the scruff of the neck for Ballina and carried right directly down the throats of the Claremorris defence. Asked the questions, got guys on his shoulder, and great score.
This is a cracking start to what should be a really good game in Group 1. These teams met in the championship last season as well over in Claremorris, a game we covered, and Ballina cruised to an 8-point win. They really did put on a show. Claremorris had no answer when Ballina upped the ante in the second half, but that was some 14 months ago, and a lot has changed in the interim, not least Ballina Stephenites under new management, and Claremorris, well, a lot of changes in personnel for them as well. Now, here come the Stephenites. McStay, O'Hora, it's Newell. Terrific goal from Kevin Newell. That was first touch football at its very best. Conor McStay, Porrick O'Hora and Kevin Newell with a beautiful finish. 6.5 minutes gone and the Stephenites hit the front.
Yeah, but it all comes from James Shaughnessy driving down the heart of the Ballina defence, and that man again, Kieran Sweeney, does a brilliant work to intercept, and Ballina turned it over. Claremorris wide open, a little worrying for Claremorris how easily they were opened, but as you say, Mike, a brilliant finish.
Well, to just put it into context, Claremorris led by 3 points to no score after 3 minutes, and now somehow they find themselves 2 down. Stephenites, their razor sharp forward line already putting on a bit of an exhibition. Newell, the goal scorer, to Regan, the point scorer. Pop back outside to Conor McStay. So impressive in the championship last season as Ballina went to the semi-final, and here he is again trying to sneak in around the back. He's a real chip off the old block, Conor McStay. His dad Paul, who played with both the Stephenites and Mayo back in the day. That's Regan, dangerous, and flicked and over the bar. Well, that's a point for the Stephenites. It's Luke Doherty. It could so easily have ended up in the back of the net, and the Claremorris goalkeeper Dara Fallon, I would say, relieved to see it fly over the bar, but it's all Stephenites in the last few minutes.
Yeah, I think Dara Fallon should have strong words for his full back line. They're letting the Ballina guys get him. Oh, what a kick out.
Kick-out's gone wrong, and Claremorris making life very difficult. This is Rory Moran, and that has flown just wide. Well, it is relentless. The Stephenites now camped inside the Claremorris half, and they just can't get out. 8 minutes in.
Yeah, Rory would be disappointed with that. All he had to do was chip the goalie. In fairness to young Fallon in goal, when he steps, his standing foot goes from under him, and the ball goes straight to the Ballina attacker.
Pitch in really good shape here in Ballina, considering the terrible weather we've had in the last few days. It's holding up really well as Dara Fallon stands over this kick out. 1-3 to 3 points. The Stephenites, the home side, out in front, and the scores have come thick and fast. In fact, we've had a score a minute more or less so far, as Ballina Stephenites number 6 Sam Callanan is penalised for over-carrying. Conor Diskin goes flying down the field. Diskin has O'Hora coming across to challenge. Just did enough, just got the challenge timed exactly right. But that battle between Diskin and O'Hora, Nigel, is one that everybody was looking forward to, and you could see what O'Hora did there. So clever, so cute, and job done.
It is job done, and he has broken twice. He's got from behind Conor Diskin. Conor hasn't tracked him, and of course he was involved in setting up that goal.
Ballina come forward again. Remember, they're playing against the wind in this first half, as Rory Moran, a brilliant minor a few years ago, played on that Mayo minor team that went to an All-Ireland semi-final under Thomas Morley. Conor McStay rolls it across to Dylan Thornton. Stephenites have men pouring forward. Kieran Sweeney takes the pass, drills it high. He really got the boot behind it and put the boot through it, but it flies wide. Ballina's second miss, but Niall Heffernan will be thrilled with how the last 5 minutes have played out.
Yeah, and his counterpart Ray Kennelly, I see he's down along the line here in front of us, trying to sort out his defence. The same thing has happened with the goalkeeper here again, and he can't pick the ball up, and he needs to get this sorted. The problem here, Mike, is from the area he's kicking the ball out from. Obviously it's very, very poor underfoot, and twice, or whatever his footwear, but twice that's the ball, the feet has gone from under him. You know, he's fierce lucky in this case that the ball doesn't go out past the exclusion zone.
So a hot ball. Darragh Fallon having some issues, as Nigel said, with his kickouts early on. They haven't scored now since the 4th minute. Claremorris, they flew out of the blocks with those 3 early points, but it's been all Ballina since then. Here's Conor Diskin. He's drifted right down the field to get on the ball. O'Hora, his shadow, has gone with him. Now James Stretton, really good ball carrier, heads in towards the centre of the field. Knocks it over towards Stephen McGrail, but McGrail was stretching and he's caught Luke Doherty, and Paul Lydon is letting the play continue. Now, I have a feeling Paul Lydon is going to come back and deal with that, but he's giving the advantage to the Stephenites. Conor McStay trying to cut inside the defender. That's David Gannon. McStay lost it, retrieves it, drills it high, and that's a terrific point from Conor McStay. Well, Ballina Stephenites have really got into their rhythm. Their running game is working well. Their forwards look so sharp, and after 11 minutes they extend their lead 1-4 to 3 points, and that's now 1-4 without reply. The latest from Conor McStay, as Paul Lydon goes back to check on Luke Doherty, and I'd imagine he's going to want a word with Stephen McGrail. But let's talk about the point from Conor McStay, Nigel, first.
So I was just going to say, Mike, that's why these scoring forwards are so valuable in the game across the water. Guys that finish are worth their weight in gold, and you know there's not a lot on there. Again, his technique is absolutely brilliant, as has Evan Regan's there, and kicks through the ball against, as you said, against a nice breeze there, and kicks a great score. Doesn't give a yellow card. He probably gives him the benefit of the doubt that the ball was bouncing, but you know he's lucky enough to get away there without a yellow.
Yeah, no word in the ear either for Stephen McGrail. It certainly looked like it was worthy of some sort of caution, but the good news is that the Ballina man Luke Doherty is okay, and away we go again. Claremorris badly in need of a score now, as Gerard Cafferty, the old dog for the hard road back there in the Ballina full back line, across to cover O'Mahony. He's been around the block as well, and away by Sweeney to Dylan Thornton. 3 of Ballina's most experienced players involved, and now the ball is moved clear to Sweeney again. The Stephenites, who had such a good league campaign, finished top of Division 1A, only lost 1 game in fact during the Senior League this season. That was against Charlestown, but they brought quite a bit of good form into the championship, but didn't amount to a hill of beans really when they were well beaten by Ballintubber in Clogher last weekend. But they know they need to deliver a performance today, and crucially they need the win. They've moved into the Claremorris danger zone, but they've given the ball away. Kevin Newell goes in high on the Claremorris number 15. That's Ronan Finn. He's back sweeping. Free quickly taken, and a chance for Pádraig Cummins to stretch his legs down along this right hand side. Manu's made a run inside, and that's a really good ball, and it's a really good catch as well. I think that's Gerard Cummins who sprinted inside, and he's already kicked a really good point from a mark, and that was a really good take as that ball dropped out of the sky. Gerard Cummins looking for his second point, and he's just miscued it wide on his own side. That's a real shame.
Easier than the last one, actually. I was about to say he kicked a brilliant mark from his wrong side. Just, you know, a small bit out on that one, but At least there's shoots here, green shoots for Claremorris. They've got on a few balls, they've got the ball down the field. They need to do that because Ballina have controlled the possession for the last while.
3 wides for Claremorris, 3 points for Claremorris as James Shaughnessy goes down to win a breaking ball. Stephen McGrail has picked up a knock and he's slow to get back to his feet. In fact, he's still down as Shaughnessy goes chasing after this. Just about keeps it in play. Shaughnessy gets it onto that left foot. Oh, that's a fantastic point from James Shaughnessy. Well, year in and year out, Shocks does the business for Claremorris, and that is as good as any he's kicked down through the years.
It's absolutely brilliant score. But he has a fantastic left foot. You have two of the best left-footed players that's in the county on view here today. Two of the sweetest left foot forwards in Evan Regan and in James Shaughnessy.
Well, that's Claremorris' first score for 10 minutes. We'll have a stoppage here now to allow Stephen McGrail to receive attention. But I just want to go back to that Shaughnessy point for a moment, Nigel. Every time Shocks does that, you can hear people say, how did that man never play for Mayo? Because in terms of club forwards, pound for pound, he's as good as what's out there.
Yeah, he's actually the same age as Cillian O'Connor, because I remember he was on an under-21 panel that I was involved in a number of years back, and he was brilliant. He was so unlucky that year because the Mayo forward line at the time had Conor O'Shea, they had Cillian O'Connor, they had all those players, and he just didn't make it. Evan Regan is the same vintage.
Well, Sean Regan has just hit James Shaughnessy a right clatter on his way out with the ball there, and it did look from here like he led with the elbow, but he's got away with it. They make them tough down here in Ballina, and Sean Regan played the whistle there. None came, and the Stephenites continue on their merry way. Ball was flung in towards Regan. He missed it. Kieran Sweeney slides in on Pádraig Cummins. Away goes Conor Diskin. You can certainly say Paul Lydon is letting this game flow in the early stages as away goes Diskin, and just as I say it, Diskin wanted the advantage and probably should have got the advantage. Now he's been brought back.
I'm going to be kind here to Paul Lydon. I think when he broke out of the tackle and he gave him the advantage, I think he took more than the 4 or 5 steps, and I think maybe that was the reason he just, Ballina would have been calling for travelling at that stage.
These things do tend to balance themselves out. Nigel showing his experience there. Claremorris have a free. James Shaughnessy wanted to take it quickly. I don't think the Ballina man had retreated quickly enough, so the ball has been brought forward, and this is inside now James Shaughnessy's range. He has kicked 2 points already, both from play. This to make it a hat-trick, and it would be his first from a free. Breeze behind him, brings it in and doesn't bring it in enough. That's away to the left and wide. You'd have expected Shaughnessy to kick that as Paul Lydon calls for the water break. 1-4 to the Stephenites, 4 points to Claremorris, and I don't think too many people, Nigel, can complain about the entertainment or the scoring rate of this first quarter. Yeah,
it's great to see two teams going at it. No sweepers on either side, and Claremorris have tightened up obviously since the goal was scored, but the one thing, you go toe to toe with a team, you have to be able to outgun them, and at the moment I just think Ballina have better quality up front, and I don't know, I know Claremorris have the breeze and they're wanting to push forward, but I think they're going to have to look at the way they're defending the Ballina forwards. Talk to us, Nigel, about how the two teams have set up given the conditions and given what's at stake as well. Yeah, Claremorris, because obviously they've the breeze with them, they feel that they have to go forward and get a lead in the first half. But what that leaves you man on man at the back. Now, man on man at the back is grand if it's a case that there's huge pressure on in the middle of the field. But for a 5-minute period or an 8-minute period there, Ballina got totally on top in the midfield, in particular Kieran Sweeney. And with Pádraig O'Hora driving for the back, Claremorris were wide open. A lot of teams, Mike, we're watching a lot of football. A lot of teams have their 10 and 12 hovering around the half-back line when a team breaks. Claremorris didn't have it on them occasions, and Ballina get in for an easy enough 1-2, even though from an attacking point of view, they're brilliant scores. Game about to restart. I'm just watching Pádraig O'Hora and Conor Diskin head over towards the same patch of grass. There's so much expectation on Conor Diskin, isn't there? Because there's a feeling that if he's curbed, if he's shut down, Claremorris are in trouble. And no surprise that O'Hora was given the job of picking him up. And so far, you'd have to say he's cancelled him out. Yeah, and maybe, they have the breeze. Maybe Claremorris should throw him inside. I think it's crying out for it, because I think O'Hora is the guy that has more influence on the game at the moment around the middle.
Well, here come the Stephenites. They've picked up where they left off. This is Luke Doherty, the man who was in training with Mayo for the last 6 or 8 months. He's in great shape. He feeds Conor McStay. Lovely combination play again. Doherty to McStay and over the bar. Conor McStay has now kicked 2 points. He was so good in so many games last season.
Of course, it's in the DNA, and that's a brilliant score. But what I love about that is the style, the way he follows through, just like his father, and definitely just like his uncle Kevin. It's a brilliant score, But they have the skill set. He has the skill set. He's a brilliant player.
So similar to his uncle Kevin McStay, an all-star back in 1985 as Ger Cafferty, an all-star himself, goes down to win that ball. Couldn't hang on to it, but when it ran free, there was a Claremorris man, I think it might have been James Shaughnessy, who was over eager. Free goes Ballina's way, taken quickly. They're trying to do everything at pace early on. McStay to O'Hora, just to underline Nigel's point that it's O'Hora who's having the bigger influence on the game than Conor Diskin in these first 15-20 minutes.
I don't think it's Conor Diskin's game to be asked. I think it's a brilliant ploy from Ballina. They've put O'Hora on him, but they've said to O'Hora every opportunity drive forward. Now he's going to do that anyways, Pádraig O'Hora. But I think it's something Claremorris need to look at, because with the breeze in the first half, I think Diskin inside, he gets a couple of balls inside, and he might ask more questions of Pádraig if you get him in there.
Well, it's double scores here at James Stephens Park, and Claremorris outscored by 1-5 to a point since the 3rd minute. That's just how much the tide has turned since that early burst from Claremorris. The Stephenites looking for a win that would put them right back in the mix for the quarter-finals again, ahead of their 3rd round clash with Davits. That's in a fortnight's time. While Claremorris know if they win today, they're into the quarter-finals. Sam Callanan to Kevin Newell, the goal scorer. The little stop and go there from the Ballina number 24, but he ended up bamboozling himself and he overcarries free out. Drilled down towards Ger Commons. He's looked very impressive early on. Lovely slide rule pass over to Stephen McGrail, who lets it bounce. Now he's got it under control. So impressive with St. Coleman's College during his days in secondary school. He's left this short though. It was well outside his range, as it turns out. Meat and drink to David Clark, and Ballina will come and build from the back again. Callanan, Luke Doherty, and now Ger Cafferty. The Stephenites content here to work their way slowly and surely out of their own defence. David O'Mahony, Conor Diskin comes across to put in the challenge, but there was no real intent. Now Rory Moran. And you can see Claremorris just starting to go back into their shell a little bit, Nigel. They're rattled now by what Ballina have up front, and they know the threat, and you can see them dropping deeper and deeper.
Yeah, they have a sweeper in here, number 7.
Powerless to prevent Newell getting the ball though. Kevin Newell knocks it down to himself. Oh, that's some score. Kevin Newell with a beauty off his left foot. Dara Fallon could almost touch it with his fingertips, but he couldn't get there. And that's another one for the Stephenites. It's another one for Kevin Newell, and the lead is out to 5 points.
Yeah, Pádraig Cummins is sweeping there, but he's, again, I always make the point about these sweepers. If you're having a lot of work done on the sweeping system, he finds himself in no man's land there, and he doesn't cover in front of Kevin Newell, which he had to do. Kevin Newell wins the ball, comes out and kicks a brilliant score.
So 21 minutes gone in the first half here at James Stephens Park. 2 in a row for the Stephenites since the water break, and they have reasserted their authority. 1-3 favourites to win this game coming in. They were red hot, fancied to bounce back from that defeat last weekend, but still a long way to go. David Gannon, 3 points he hit against Davits in the first round to James Shaughnessy. He's the go-to man, and he's gone for it again. Shaughnessy though has hooked this one out to the right and wide. 5 wides for Claremorris.
He's looking for a free there, and he's a small bit unlucky because he does step inside Sam Callanan, and Sam just catches a hold of him for the half a second. He's a small bit unlucky. A lot of referees would have their hand up there for an advantage. James is talking to Paul Lydon about it after, feels he was hard done by.
Well, he's got a couple of clatters, James Shaughnessy, in this first half, and I'm sure he's the last man who will feel sorry for himself, but he certainly has been in the thick of the action as Stephen McGrail intercepts and breaks up that Ballina attack. Away by Aidan Butler and forward down the line by Sean Diskin. Nice delivery to Liam Welsh, who has a good first touch, makes an angle, shoots off his right. Breeze behind him, pushes it away to the right. 6 wides That wide count is climbing. They're starting to snatch at shots. We had Stephen McGrail, James Shaughnessy, and now Liam Welch.
Yeah, absolutely. Decision making is poor from Claremorris. It's lack of belief, you know.
That breeze is very considerable as well, and it's worth bearing in mind the Stephenites will have it behind them in the second half as Sean Regan tries to drill that ball down into the corner, but came off the outside of his boot. Not even the likes of Conor McStay or Kevin Newell was going to keep that in. Claremorris are back on the ball. James Stretton, man who was in and out of Mayo squads a few years ago, but has been very unlucky with injuries in the last few seasons. Just seems to hit a bit of bad luck and a bit of misfortune anytime he's getting into a run of games. But part and parcel of the Claremorris backline here as Sean Diskin fires it in from long range, and that's what they can do when they get it right. Terrific point from Sean Diskin. Once it opened up for him, he just let fly.
Absolutely. They needed somebody to have a small bit of authority and belief about them, and Sean had that, you know, and it's a great score. But Claremorris, they're not dealing with Ballina running at them that well. You see again here, they're not picking up the runners. Sean Regan is coming from deep, setting everything up here.
Well, that now means 3 of the Claremorris starting forward line has scored. Sean Regan down at the other end trying to burrow his way through, but he held onto that ball too long. Good work by Claremorris. The sweeper and the extra men back kicked in there, just closed down the space for Regan, and they will take heart from that. Gap stands currently at 4 points as James McCormack, who's had a very quiet game so far,
I was
gets
just
on the ball.
just about to say James McCormack hasn't been in the game at all.
He's being marked by Kieran Sweeney and he's got his hands full, but James McCormack is a really good footballer, and here he is again. He's been part of the Mayo senior squad for the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's been pulled back, he's been fouled, but Claremorris will need much more from him.
He has to ask questions of Kieran Sweeney. Kieran Sweeney is a real dogged type of player. We've spoken about him already, but the one thing you would expect is that James McCormack would have the legs on him, and he has to ask the question he's after asking there. Kieran is after getting booked. He has an opportunity. Ray Kennelly, I'm sure, is going to be saying to James McCormack, take him on all the time now. He's on a yellow. He can't hold you up.
Well, he's got so much running power, James McCormack. If he does open up here, he could do some damage. And as Nigel said now, Kieran Sweeney has to be on his best behaviour. Here's Shaughnessy. He's had a few chances to get his eye in from frees, and he's missed another one. That was dead straight in front of the goal, and he's normally so accurate, and you can see he's furious with himself.
He is, yeah. You know, Mike, when you have a breeze that's down like that, and a guy that kicks like James, he kind of puts a curl on it, and the breeze doesn't help you. Even the breeze, which is grand when you're out on this side, you turn it around.
David Clark, he really did cut the cloth to measure there. Just about got away with it. 7 wides now, by the way, for Claremorris as we tick closer and closer to the half-time break. They have left so many scores out there behind them in this first half. Will it cost them when all is said and done, as O'Hora just throws Stephen McGrail out of his way to make some room for himself? Now Sweeney. There are runners going left and going right, and Evan Regan has just slid in to the outstretched arm of Paddy Barry. Free in. Regan is going to need a little bit of attention, but I'd give Paddy Barry the benefit of the doubt there.
I don't know, is it even a free, Mike? And I know the viewers will say,
you would say Nigel. That, Nigel.
No, absolutely. He puts his hand out just to tackle him, and Evan Regan's momentum and his legs go from under him, and he slides right into the... Now I know the catches his hand across his face, but I think it's definitely a harsh yellow. But because he's given the yellow, Mike, a couple of minutes ago referees like to even things up.
It's not the first time you've heard Nigel say that, and it won't be the last. Yellow card for Paddy Barry. He's in the book now with Kieran Sweeney, and Evan Regan has made a miraculous recovery, shall we say, and he's ready to kick this free. Stephenites looking to top up that lead again, heading into half-time and restore the cushion to turn around with the breeze behind them in the second half. Well, he's a beautiful kicker of a ball. It's not that long ago he was part and parcel of the Mayo senior squad. He's now the team nutritionist, and sometimes when you see him play in league and championship games, Nigel, you wonder, is there another roll in the dice of Evan Regan's intercounty
What you're
career?
saying there, Mike, would there be any harm throwing a number 25 jersey to the nutritionist? You know, when you see that kind of stuff, you have to have it. You have to have somebody that can do that kind of stuff in any panel.
Nigel thinking outside the box. I like it. 1-7 to the Stephenites, 5 points to Claremorris. We're in the 28th minute here at James Stephens Park on a day when A lot of dinners have had to be pushed back. A few, I'm sure, have been fired into the microwave for later on in the evening. As Claremorris come forward. McCormack. That ball landed around the bootlaces of Conor Diskin. It's left him with a lot of work to do. And just to compound his problems, he's got Pádraig O'Hora chasing after him. Ball runs free. And who else but that man O'Hora picks up the pieces. Slowly and surely, he's just breaking down Conor Diskin as this first half goes on, making life so hard for him.
And Conor Diskin has got inside. To quote our good friend Kevin McStay, I heard him speak about the type of fella that young O'Hora likes to mark, you know, and he doesn't mind that taking on that big physicality, and at the moment he's winning that battle.
Lovely ball from Conor McStay to Kevin Newell. Just rushed the shot wide on his own side. That's just the second wide that Ballina have kicked in this first half. They have been so economical.
Yeah, but the forwards that shoot on sight and forwards is capable of doing it. Claremorris, you do worry for Claremorris because their forwards are so accurate. I know that one was a poor wide, but in the second half when they have the touch of breeze with them, if Claremorris give the Ballina forwards that space, they're going to kick on a few points here.
Liam Welch, really pacey, number 11, feeds it off to Sean Diskin. Lovely footballer as well in his own right. Claremorris though are working it very tight in a very confined space, but they've managed to engineer a free for themselves. Sean Diskin and Liam Welch there between them have managed to draw the foul, and John Walker, the County Board PRO and linesman on the far side, just moves in to point out exactly where the free should be taken from, and Sean Diskin is going to have a crack at it himself. So the crowd over in the stand falls silent just to give Sean Diskin every chance. Win behind him, and Sean Diskin fires it up and over the bar. Well, they've got a terrific belt of a football, the Diskin brothers, and that's a second for Sean, and that gap now is back to 4 points.
Yeah, Sean Diskin is the guy that is taking the game to Ballina. Gave a poor pass there, but did brilliant, dogged to win his own ball back. It was coming towards half time.
We're in the final seconds of normal time at the end of the first half, and the Stephenites setting the pace and making the running. And again, it's Kieran Sweeney who wins that first ball. Sean Regan plays it forward, and here's Keith Tye, closed down very quickly by Paddy Barry. Now Paddy Barry is on a yellow, and he just moved in there fairly aggressively.
If you're on a yellow, I don't know, is young Tye the guy to be on, because he's very smart, and when he gets the ball he goes at you.
Free to the Stephenites. O'Hora will take it, just holds up in the wind. That's going to take it away from Newell. James McCormack jumped above Conor McStay. Racing out onto the break is Dara Fitzpatrick, son of Brendan. He'd be a grandson of Billy Fitz, so he's from good stock, Dara Fitzpatrick, one of the newcomers who's broken into the Claremorris senior team this season. Sean Diskin again on the ball, getting involved, trying to hold off Conor McStay. McStay stays with him, snapping away at his heels. Sean Diskin wins the free. But you've mentioned him a couple of times, Nigel, and he has taken up a lot of the slack, and he's done a lot of the heavy lifting, Sean Diskin. Centrally involved again there. Shaughnessy tries to play a 1-2 with Liam Welch, but the return pass was ahead of Shaughnessy, broken up by David O'Mahony, and the referee Paul Lydon from Kilchuma on that play blows the half-time whistle. About 80 seconds or so of additional time played, and it's the Stephenites who lead Claremorris by 4 points as the teams head in at the break. Nigel, your summary of the first half.
Look at it. I don't want to level this at Claremorris all the time, but Claremorris in a lot of championship games over the years, we've seen them, the fine footballers, but at times they have to go to battle a small bit more. And the dirtier part of the game, Ballina have those guys. They have the Pádraig O'Hora, they have Sean Regan in particular, they definitely have Kieran Sweeney, and around that middle area, Rory Moran getting on a lot of ball. They're doing so well, and unless Claremorris can get a foothold in the engine room, they're going to struggle here in the second half. But I'm just smiling to myself there. The last free win there for Ballina, Evan Regan takes it and he puts in a Hail Mary ball to Kevin Newell. And I seen Kevin Newell talking back to him, and I'm sure he was saying, Evan, you wouldn't want that one in yourself. So they're smiling away as they go in there together. But I met the point to you early, Mike. I believe that Ballina have the forwards. I think in Young McStay, in Kevin Newell, definitely in Evan Regan. You know, that's without Dylan Thornton getting in there yet. In the second half, them boys will go at them. And unless Claremorris have a game plan to close Ballina down, maybe go a small bit deeper and try and break against them. But it's a very hard ask when you go in 4 points down and you're facing into a breeze in the second half. But the only thing what Ballina management is going to say is overconfidence. The game is not over.
Just having a quick look at the notes here from the first half. Ballina 1-6 from open play. Claremorris with 4 points from play. Claremorris as well, though, going for 2 10-minute spells during that first half without a score at all. That'll be a worry for Ray Kennelly and his management team. They need to try and put more scores on the board. They've also shot 7 wides. While on the Ballina Stevenite side, that goal from Kevin Newell in the 7th minute, how crucial could that turn out to be? But at half time here at James Stephens Park in Ballina, in round 2 of Group 1 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Football Championship, it's advantage Ballina Stevenites. They lead Claremorris 1-7 to 6 points. We'll be back shortly with some analysis and the second half.
Sorry if I'm a bit late.
No probs, Dad. Still getting ready.
This butter's only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
That's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Brilliant. How do they do that?
I don't know, Dad. I'm not a dairy farmer. Just a woman trying to go on a date. Do I look okay?
I don't know. I'm not a stylist. I'm just a dad trying to help his favourite daughter go on a date.
You only have one daughter.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.
And you're very welcome back to James Stephens Park in Ballina. As you can see, the teams back out on the field. Second half about to get underway. Niall Heffernan, the Ballina Stephenites manager, has made one change at the break by the looks of things. We can see number 9, Jack Irwin, out there on the field. And also, Ballina Stephenites have changed their goalkeeper. We're just spotting that now. So it's Jack Irwin for Kieran Sweeney, who was on a yellow. And also Gary Holmes is in to replace David Clark. So we can only assume David Clark is injured, Nigel, but it's not a change we were expecting. And what do you make of the Kieran Sweeney switch as well?
Well, look at Kieran Sweeney. He put in a massive effort in the first half. He took a yellow card, and I think again his game is running into the breeze. I think that's tactical, and it might be he might be carrying a bit of an injury or anything else, but I think it's good. It's a good move. This is brilliant from Luke Doherty.
Luke Doherty has been really impressive. He's gone right through. Oh, denied by the post. Well, that would have been one of the great goals scored here at James Stephens Park for many years. Luke Doherty just took off. Nobody could stay with him. And Dara Fallon at full stretch, saved by the post.
Yeah, he's a lovely, lazy style, and he looks like he's not moving, and he's getting away, guys. It would have been getting away from guys. It would have been an absolutely brilliant goal.
Well, we mentioned at the outset there were quite a few switches and changes in terms of personnel on the Stephenites team before the game started. It was hard to keep track of it. We did get it late in the day. Luke Doherty was one of those players that we had figured was not going to start, but he did, and he's made a big impression. Another man who started and has made a big impression was number 24 there. That's Kevin Newell, who cut through.
You'd be disappointed with that one, Mike.
Yeah, just wide. He's hitting 1-1 already.
He had loads of time there. It's a terrible kick out.
Poor kick out from Dara Fallon. Kicked it right into the lap of Luke Doherty, and would you believe it, he's missed as well. That's 3 wides from the Stephenites. They're up to their wide tally now is climbing fairly quick as well, and they have the win behind them.
Yeah, it's very poor. It's very, very poor. And in fact, there's a goal chance on that, because I think it's Rory Moran possibly that's inside him on the left hand side. But the kick out has become a huge issue.
This time Dara Fallon takes no chances, goes long out to this left wing. James Stretton underneath it, managed to grab it, hang on to it, win a free. Claremorris against the wind and 4 points behind. That's a very ambitious hand pass, to say the least. Pádraig O'Hora at full stretch takes it in his stride and then drives it forward into Rory Moran. His first instinct is always to try and take on his man, but his intended pass inside has struck a Claremorris player. That took the sting out of it. Shaughnessy does well to fire it through. Shaughnessy is down again. He took a heavy hit there as he played that pass, and he hasn't been able to get back up to his feet as Claremorris try to come forward, but against the wind that move breaks down.
Yeah, hand passing very poor for Claremorris on 2 occasions there. James, I didn't see what happened there, and Sean Tolan, the referee or the linesman, is not getting involved in it either, so it's possibly a late tackle.
Yeah, from what I could see, just as he played the pass, 2 defenders came through on him and probably followed through on him. And Shaughnessy, well, he's as honest as the day is long, and he just had himself left wide open. And he's looking towards Paul Lydon, isn't he? Asking Paul Lydon, what do I have to do?
Yeah, absolutely. In fairness to Paul Lydon, he's following the play. If there was anything, possibly the linesman would have picked up on it. I don't think there was a lot in it. What Ballina have done for the kick out is they have Jack Irwin put on huge presence there, Dylan Thornton and Luke Doherty, and they've lined them across the field, and they're 3 guys well over 6 foot, and it's very, very hard for the Claremorris goalie Dara Fallon to pick somebody out from the restarts.
So it's Ballina Stephenites sitting on a 4-point lead, breeze behind them, but they have taken out or lost, whichever way you want to look at it, 2 of their most experienced players at half time in David Clark and Kieran Sweeney. Will that have much of an impact on how this second half plays out? Here's one of the young brigade, Rory Moran, forward to Kieran Boland. He's looking for Conor McStay. Lovely quick feet and quick hands as well. McStay's snapshot is away and wide. That's 4 wides at the start of this second half, and they're up to 7 now in total.
Yeah, Ballina will be heavily disappointed with that. That move was definitely made in the Ballina board. And Kieran Boland flying through, gives it to Rory Moran, gives it to Dylan Thornton. Boland comes on the end of it. He's well able to kick a point himself, even though he's the number 2 jersey on his back. Possibly should have taken it on. Threw it off to young McStay, who was under pressure, and he kicks it across the goal.
Dara Fallon gets this kick out to its target. It was Aidan Butler. Man here under pressure though is Ronan Finn. He just took too much out of that ball and he's lost out to Keith Tye. Support from Conor McStay again. Always seems to be able to find a little pocket of space. Evan Regan, you could see for a moment there he was thinking about taking on the shot. Instead he's brought the ball into the tackle. He leaves empty-handed, turned over, and Claremorris will try and break through Sean Diskin, their most impressive forward so far, to Conor Diskin, weaving his way past a couple of defenders, trying everything to find a little bit of time and space to himself. O'Hora's after him, so he won't get time or space. Down goes Diskin. O'Hora wins another individual battle, and Conor Diskin gets back to his feet, so frustrated. He did very little wrong, and yet he couldn't find a way through.
No, he lives and breathes those young O'Hora. He's a top class performer.
Ball carried in by Sam Callanan to Rory Moran. Tried to take Porrick Cummins on the outside, but Cummins has got serious wheels and he just whipped the ball there off the toe of Moran, and another turnover, another Ballina attack. Peters out quickly.
If the 2 guys that's doing the stats for turnovers on both teams will be using a lot of ink at the moment, Mike. You know, how many games have we watched even this year that we've had a brilliant first half, and for whatever reasons, after restarts or after water breaks, it's like the tempo goes down. The amount of mistakes at the beginning of the second half have been way too many.
So Claremorris, their manager Ray Kennelly and his backroom team, which includes John Kelly and Johnny Mulkeen, they're going to make a change here. Number 25, Daniel Murphy, is coming in to replace number 3, Paddy Barry. Paddy, who picked up that yellow in the first half. He's a very aggressive defender, and I'd imagine they were just a little bit concerned that he was 1 foul away from a second yellow, and then all of a sudden, down to 14 men, it becomes a different game entirely. So in comes Daniel Murphy. And here is Daniel Murphy on the ball immediately. Time ticking away now. We're heading towards the 8th or 9th minute of this second half. In fact, heading towards the 7th minute to be precise, and Claremorris in need of scores on the board.
Need of a goal, Mike. I know we've 22, 25 minutes possibly left of the match, but I don't see Claremorris kicking enough points to win this game. I think they're going to need at least 1 goal if they're going to come out of here with a result.
James McCormack chips it back to Daniel Murphy, the substitute, trying to bring some pace and energy to this attack. Back to Liam Welsh. Shaughnessy on the wraparound. Daniel Murphy. Shaughnessy again comes off the shoulder. This is the way he likes it. Shaughnessy. It's a shock special. Coming on that loop, not once but twice, and he struck it right on the sweet spot. Another one for Shaughnessy, and the gap is back to 3.
Yeah, but brilliant from Daniel Murphy. You know, it's great to see introduce a sub like that. He handles the ball 3 times in that attack and makes the right decision. He possibly has the chance to go on and kick it himself, but he goes back to his shooter, and no better guy to go back to than Shocks.
But right now, all that separates the teams is that Kevin Newell goal that came in the 7th minute of the first half. So brilliantly taken, so expertly created, but Claremorris hanging on in there as the Stephenites come down this right hand side. David O'Mahony, 18 on his back, but he started in the Ballina defence, waits for the run, which turns out to be a dummy run of O'Hora. Instead he gives it to Keith Tye, back to Dylan Thornton. It's all opened up, and Dylan Thornton literally strolls through and clips over his first point of the match.
He does, but again, a part of like the Red Sea, you know, Claremorris have got to have more intensity in their tackling there. They can't allow that to happen. Whoever's picking up Dylan Thornton, he is the guy that has the ball out earlier, plays a square foot pass across about 60 metres out, and nobody picks him up whatsoever. And again, he can waltz in there for a point that easy.
Well, that point from Thornton cancels out the one from James Shocks, as Daniel Murphy comes down the middle, crosses the halfway line at pace and lays it off to David Gannon. He's the man who scored the 3 points against Davids, including what turned out to be the winner, but he just hasn't been able to get on the ball enough in an attacking area today. Right now he's being marked by Jack Irwin, a young player who's so highly rated, so much expected of him, and looking forward to seeing him get on the ball in this second half.
Yeah, that Claremorris substitution, Mike, is definitely tactical, because David O'Mahony has gone back into the full back line. Paddy Barry was the loose man, so obviously they feel Daniel Murphy is a better ball carrier. They've got him in, he's their loose man, so he's got on the last 4 or 5 balls, and he's starting to make a few small things happen for Claremorris.
Speaking of ball carriers, that was James McCormick there who got on the ball again, but he's been really well curbed by Ballina Stevenage. He just hasn't been able to get into the game.
Yeah, it's one of those days where, no matter what you try, this and not happening for you. He's made 3 or 4 runs, getting Ballina set up well. They have a lot of guys across the 50-yard line there.
So Sean Diskin to take the free. Just trying to compose himself. He's got a ferocious belt of a ball. There was no issue with power, but there you can see that breeze that's blowing down the field. It just caught a hold of that ball and pulls it away to the right, well wide. 8 wides for Claremorris now, and they can ill afford to hit any at this stage.
I think Shocks knew that was outside his distance. He came short. He wanted him to give it to him. He opted for the shot. It was a poor decision.
Ball played nicely down the left wing to Luke Doherty. Waits for the run of Rory Moran. The ball just seemed to hit a divot there. Didn't come back up again for him. Instead it's turned over, and Stephen McGrail fires it back as far as Daniel Murphy, and now James McCormick. It's a long way downfield from here, and it's even longer now because Daniel Murphy has gone back to Dara Fallon. James Stretton clips it outside as far as David Gannon. He's heading towards the halfway line. Waits, looks up and decides to pump it long to Ger Commons, but against the wind it was the wrong decision.
Putting the ball up in the air like that's an easy ball down along the line of a punt pass. Claremorris, the basic skills are poor. They've hand passed a few balls away here. This is all suits Ballina.
Well, we're 11 minutes into the second half, and we're still waiting for the big kick from Claremorris. We're still waiting for the big comeback to be unleashed. The Steveneites just keeping them at arm's length. They lead by 4, 1-8-7, maintaining that safe distance. O'Hora, lovely sidestep to get away from Conor Diskin. Pádraig O'Hora with one of the scores of the day. Well, the home crowd love that. He's spent most of the day being destructive in a good way. From a Stevenage perspective, he has made Conor Diskin's life so difficult, and then he goes down the field, sidesteps like a corner forward and swings it over the black spot. Yeah,
we're looking at Conor Diskin's body language. Sometimes you're just beat by a better man, and that's what's happened here today. Ballina making a couple of substitutions. James Doherty, good cornerback, played most of the year last year. He's back in. Great thing for Ballina, Mike. 2 18-year-olds, 2 19-year-olds playing here today, And Namor got a huge bounce from the young lads last year, and it sees Ballina getting it from this year.
Ball played through to Cian Walnut, who's just come in off the bench, but the ball won the race. Just to tidy up that bit of housekeeping for you, as Nigel said, it's Cian Walnut and James Doherty who have come into the Steveneites team, and they've taken out David O'Mahony and Rory Moran. So Niall Heffernan feels it's time to inject some fresh legs in, as Conor Diskin for the first time goes on a run. He's made 30 or 40 yards. He's held up and fouled. No advantage. Ball is stuck in the net by Ger Commons, but it's not going to count. Paul Lydon had blown the whistle. He'd signalled for the free. Claremorris furious with the decision. They wanted the advantage, of course, but to be fair to Paul Lydon, he called it in good time.
He had a call back. In fairness to Conor Diskin, he done a Pádraig O'Hora on Pádraig O'Hora there. Pádraig O'Hora went in too tight to mark him. Huge man Diskin threw O'Hora away, and he's a bit unlucky. Paul Lydon had blown it. It didn't look like there was going to be an advantage, and in fairness to Paul Lydon, once he blew the whistle, the Ballina defenders did stop, and it's a point for Shocklands. He brings it back again to 4 points. It's not going to happen for Claremorris, Mike, unless they get a goal.
13 minutes into the second half, James Shaughnessy slots his 4th point of the match. 1-9 plays 8 points. From a Claremorris perspective, they're still tantalisingly close, but the Steveneites look like they've more scores than them, as Kevin Newell knocks that ball away from himself with his left foot just to give himself a little bit of room to manoeuvre. Couple of runs being made. One of them is Evan Regan. Wind gets underneath that, brings it up into the air like a Gary Owen. It's flapped at by a defender. Regan, Sean Regan, goal for the Steveneites. Regan to Regan. Evan to Sean, and the ball nestles in the back of the net. 14 minutes into the second half. Well, that was one of those moments in years to come where you'll wonder what happened next when that ball ballooned up into the air. It was flicked by a Claremorris fist, I think. It spun the wrong way from their perspective. It couldn't have worked out any better for the Stephenites, and the most unlikely of goal scorers, Sean Regan, taps it into the empty net.
Yeah, but again, it's just a simple fact we spoke about earlier. Ballina reacted quicker. You know, the minute it was won, Sean Regan races into the box and gets his hand on the end of it. Again, you know, when I talk about intensity and all that kind of stuff, a ball is kicked across the goal and like that, and the first thing you're saying to your defenders, your goalkeeper, is shouting at everybody to get in, because it can, as you said, it can go anywhere. And Ballina just are more up for it, for want of a better word.
Well, the Stephenites goal scorer, Sean Regan, we mentioned earlier, he's a very talented dual player. He's a really good hurler. His uncle, Niall Patterson, actually played for Antrim in goal in the 1989 All-Ireland hurling final against Tipperary. There's one for the clubhouse in Knockmore later on.
I know, because I'm very friendly with his mother and his father. They're both. He was quarried in Antrim, that lad. Tough boy.
He's and
his father and mother, great people, great hurling people as well. Owned the discount store down in the middle of the town.
Well, Sean Regan playing with the big ball today, and just tapped it into the empty Claremorris net there a few moments ago to leave it 2-9 to 8 points, and it's a very long way back now from Claremorris.
It is, of course.
They need a goal, as Nigel flagged quite a while ago. They needed a goal even before Sean Regan hit the back of the net.
He's fairly impressed with the young goalkeeper Gary Holmes in there. I'm just watching him, the way he's talking his defence through it. You know, he's picked out his 3 or 4 passes, left-footed guy, but of course it's great to have a young goalie working with David Clark at training, you know, and you can see it rubbing off on him there.
Certainly looks very comfortable and very confident. We must find out afterwards what the story is with David Clark. Actually played the first half here, didn't appear for the second, as Conor Diskin manages to clip that through to James McCormack. They've both found the going tough today, as has
Our referee has to
Cummins.
call that one back. That's a referee. James McCormack is 100% right on that. He goes to take a quick free. I think it's some of the Ballina defender, Sam Callan, puts his hand up. He's only about 2 yards from it and is turned over. In fairness, Paul obviously didn't see it, because if he'd seen it, he would have called it back.
Here's Evan Regan. What about this for a burst of pace? Cutting down along that left wing. Now he lets it in, breeze behind it. Conor McStay takes it. This has goal written all over it. It's Newell. Great save by Dara Fallon. Conor McStay stumbles on the follow-up. Danger still not fully cleared. Well, it looked a gilt-edged goal-scoring opportunity as Ronan Finn wraps up Kevin Newell and Claremorris get the free out. Well, credit where it's due. Dara Fallon with a really good save.
Full credit Dara Fallon. The Ballina attacker asked him to go down. He made the dummy and everything else. In fairness to Fallon, he never bought it. A brilliant save that keeps his team just about, Mike, in the game.
Well, the Stephenites, when they move that ball quickly, especially with the boot, they can cut Claremorris open so
they would have been annoyed about it if it was a goal, because it was from the incident up the field here. But the centre of the Claremorris defence does look a bit iffy.
They've been opened up a few times, and they've paid the price a few times as well. That's Sam Callanan, fouled by James Shaughnessy. Second water break isn't too very far away, and you just get the feeling now Claremorris need just 60 or 90 seconds to clear their heads.
I do, Mike. I think it's, you know, it's hard to see a way back here, because they don't look in any ways. Ballina are set up so well. You're making the point. What do you do with Diskin? Do you throw him in? If you throw him in, O'Hara's in there in the defence. He's winning most of that battle. You bring him out the field, and O'Hara. That's a great point.
That is Evan Regan, and that's absolutely outrageous. 55, maybe 60 metres out, drills it right over the black spot, and what a way for the third quarter to come to an end. Evan Regan's 4th point of the day leaves the Stephenites leading 2-10 to 8 points, double scores, and you can see Evan Regan, the shoulders are open, the chest is out. A lot of his teammates playing the same way, and you've seen this over the years, Nigel. When Ballina Stephenites get on a run like this, very hard to stop.
You don't want to allow Ballina confidence. You have to get in amongst Ballina and put doubts into them. But I'm awful impressed with the young lads. Awful impressed with young Boland and young Callanan in defence. For two guys to be asked, you know, they're probably both in maybe doing their leaving cert this year, you know, and to go out there, and the physical strength both of them have, along with the football ability, is top class.
I'm just looking at the stats for the third quarter here, Nigel. Ballina outscoring Claremorris 1-3 to 2 points, and I mean, that pretty much tells the story.
And how many bad wides had the Mike as well? You know, they kicked 3 or 4 terrible wides at the beginning of the second half. Kevin Newell, Evan Regan, you know. But again, the man we've talked about there, Sean Regan, carries the ball. Like, he's so physically strong. Defends, loves defending. You know, it's brilliant to see a guy. Kieran Boland is the same way. Ger Caffrey is the same way. They love defending. I threw it at Ballina last year. I said they wouldn't win a county title because I said the backs weren't good enough. And this year, I'm afraid they are good enough, you know. And I know they were poor the last day in Ballintubber. Ballintubber got a bit of a run on them in the middle of the field, came through them, set up a few goals. Ballina will have learned from that and have learned from that. And of course, Pádraig O'Hora wasn't on the field last week. But again, I think you're looking, Mike, we're looking at one of the teams here that's going to be in the business end of this.
Well, that is high praise from a Knockmore man, I can tell you. You don't hear Nigel Reap singing Ballina's praises too often, but they've been impressive here so far. They've done everything that's been asked of them and more, and they have really made life so difficult for Claremorris. They've denied them time and they've denied them space. As here's Conor Diskin trying to find some. Now they're in. Diskin plays the 1-2, and Diskin just wide and missed by the flying Liam Welch, who tried to dive through the air at the back post and divert it into the goal. How did that not hit the net?
I think he played it across to Diskin. I think in fairness to Conor, I think he's trying to flick the ball to the net and he doesn't get enough on it. And the guy that comes in on the back post, Liam Welch, it's an open goal. It's an open goal that's missed for them. But it's the first time, actually, it was Aidan Butler that came in behind the Ballina defence, and it's the first time they got the foot pass right into that area. Conor Diskin is holding his hands on his head and he's wondering how he missed that.
9 wides for Claremorris, and how they so badly needed that goal, because that goes in and it just gives them such a lift swinging into the last 10 minutes. It just changes the whole complexion of this game in terms of the position Claremorris find themselves in. They just need something to spark a revival, something to get them going.
We spoke already about restarts after the water break, and straight away Ballina are caught out on it, you know. And it's a huge thing the managers are talking about at the moment. And I'm speaking to 1 or 2 of them, and you know, they're saying sometimes you're as well off without it. If you have momentum, you don't want the water break. If you haven't, you do want it, you know. And just to Ballina go back out there after the water break and just fall asleep for a second.
Just down in front of us here, I see Niall Heffernan grabbing a quick word with his coach selector, Éanna Casey. They're obviously contemplating making a change. Claremorris are thinking something similar. That's Aidan Butler, by the way, who's injured and just being worked on by the Claremorris physio, Noel Doherty. And this stoppage, well, it won't do anything for Claremorris' comeback anyway. Ballina happy enough to get a breather. They're 8 points up.
Yeah, Ballina just want to close it out from here on in, and again, scoring difference might come into it, you know, if it's a case Claremorris were to, you know, depending on the results goes in the rest of the game, and Ballina will be happy to have got, you know, 7 or 8 points up on this. I said that at the beginning because they, you know, they lost the first day against Ballintubber.
So Michael Higgins for Stephen McGrail. That's the Claremorris change that I think it's about to happen, if it hasn't happened already.
Yeah, Stephen looked injured a few times there. I watched him going for a couple of balls and he looked like he was carrying a leg.
Just to remind you as well, if it stays like this and the Stephenites do pick up the 2 points, as looks highly likely, well then it will mean that it will all come down to their 3rd round match against Davits in round 3. While on the other side, Claremorris will have to beat Ballintubber. That's those games in a fortnight's time. But it will be very much a case of who wins the 3rd round game to see who goes through to the quarterfinals, because it's all going to get very, very tight in Group 1, assuming that the Stephenites go on to win here and assuming Ballintubber beat Davits later on today. But it's very dangerous to assume anything when it comes to Davits. I've learned
that is,
over
of
the
course,
years.
and by all accounts, they should have held on and got the result against Claremorris maybe the last day, you know. And the problem you have with a club like Claremorris or a team like Claremorris is Diskin is their big player, you know. And once he is taken out of it, they are struggling to get their hands in the ball, especially up front.
Well, right now, it looks like Ballina have switched things round a bit, and Pádraig O'Hora has gone down the field, or up the field should that be. Here he is getting onto this loose ball. In fact, he's everywhere, Pádraig O'Hora, really. 1 minute he's back in his own full back line, and the next, as he is right now, he's inside the Claremorris D, winning a break, driving at the Claremorris defence, and winning a free in. He really is
I think
the
it's a sign
complete
that
player.
Ballina, I think the game, or they're well there, because they've left Ger on young Diskin, where O'Hora has spent the whole day on Connor, and he's decided at this stage, I want to go forward and play a bit of ball.
So just looking at the Stephenites backline there, just as Nigel was speaking, there's been a little bit of communication between Ger Cafferty and Dylan Thornton, and now Pádraig O'Hora trots back to pick up Diskin again. They've figured it out themselves as Evan Regan slots over the free. 2-11 to 8 points and 5 points for Regan.
Evan Regan. We're just making the point. Three frees complemented by two brilliant points from open play. Again, the great thing about Ballina as well, they're getting a chance to run the bench here. Rory Tighe in for Keith. I think they're cousins, if I'm not mistaken. But
so 23 minutes gone in the second half, and Rory Tighe replaces Keith Tighe. Niall Heffernan running his bench, taking a look at a few of his options ahead of the third round game in a couple of weeks' time. That will be against Davits at a neutral venue. All the third round matches taking place at neutral venues, as Daniel Murphy gives this ball forward and Claremorris try and make some headway. Matthew Mackin, who's come into the Claremorris team in the last few minutes, to Shaughnessy. Back to Sean Diskin, nothing on short. Sean Diskin shoots high, and that's over the bar. It's a third point for Sean Diskin, and really had very little other options, took on the shot and swings over the point.
yeah, but at least Claremorris are running. They haven't asked any questions about Ballina running at them, and Conor Diskin is up his game big time in the last couple of minutes, and they're getting the rewards for hard running at Ballina.
So 2-11 to 9. That's an 8-point game in old money. Good kick out from Gary Holmes and a fine take by Rory Tighe, who's just come in off the bench. Really good mark called by the Stephenites 26, and he plays the pass to the goal scorer Kevin Ewell. Nice ball inside to Conor McStay. So adept at winning ball out in front. Uses his pace to get away from the defender, and Conor McStay has kicked a classy score. He did it all right, won the ball out in front, protected it, shielded it, made an angle and swings it over. He is 100% a McStay all right. 3 points for him.
It's bringing back bad memories, because he reminds me so much of his uncle Kevin, the way, when we played Kevin all those years ago back here in championship matches. He did that. He was nearly impossible to mark. He's low to the ground. I loved the way he collected the ball around the bend. It was super stuff. But he's a lovely foot passer also. And Pádraig O'Hora finds himself at full forward.
Well, like his dad and his uncle, he has the cut of a basketballer about him as well, Conor McStay. Here's Pádraig O'Hora. He'd never get a goal, would he? Fists it across, palmed in by Cian Walnut and scooped away for a 45 by Dara Fallon. Well, with 5 minutes to go, we thought we were about to see Pádraig O'Hora cap one of these all-round displays with a goal, because right now, as far as I can tell, he's playing full forward.
You wouldn't blame him. Nobody in the place would have blamed him there if he let fly. And in fairness to him, had great vision just to overcook the pass a small bit. And in fairness to that young lad Cian Walnut, he got a great hand at it, and the goalkeeper does brilliant again, Dara Fallon, to get across his goal and push it away.
I'm just wondering what the instructions are that Pádraig O'Hora might have got in the last 5 or 10 minutes from Niall Heffernan. Nigel, is he looking at something that he might bring into play further down the track here by asking him to play inside? Is he there to tag the runner Daniel Murphy and just go wherever he goes?
I don't know. I think Pádraig is a free spirit himself. He might have decided just to on the pitch, which is brilliant. As a manager, when you have these guys that'll do that kind of thing. But it just shows you throw a guy in like that. He wins the ball inside, throws his marker out of the ways, and goes through and sets up a goal chance.
Well, in the last 13 minutes or so, the Stephenites have outscored Claremorris by 1-4 to a point, and they've done so much damage with those scoring bursts. And Claremorris do tend to go through these spells, in this game in particular, where they just cannot score. 10 and 12 minute passages of play where they just can't put scores on the board.
Absolutely. Go back to the point you were making there, Mike, a while ago. I think it's a very valid point. Last year when Ballina were knocked out of the championship by not more, Peter Nyackton was causing a lot of trouble inside. Pádraig O'Hora was playing well in the half back line. They had to sacrifice him to go back into the full back line. I don't think with some of the players they have this year they might have to do that, and I think that'll be a huge addition to Ballina, that it'll be allowed to leave O'Hora, as you said, in the half back or around the midfield area.
Right now he's at full forward, by the way, the Mayo corner back, as James Shaughnessy down at the other end is robbed by Jerk Hafferty. Well, class is permanent, and Jerk Haff is some operator, just waited for his chance, stole the ball back, fouled as he tried to come out, and unfortunately for him, the free has been given away again. He will not be happy with that, as Claremorris get another chance. That's Pádraig Cummins, and that is Gary Holmes right underneath it. So that Claremorris attack hasn't worked out either.
No, but again, the point you're making, Ger has done that all day long. You know, he's just so brilliant at getting a hand in. He looks like he's beaten, and all of a sudden he just throws his hand in, seems to knock the ball away.
That's Sam Callanan, who's not unlike Jerk Hafferty from a distance, the way he came out with that ball. Conor McStay is still full of running. That's Luke Doherty's effort, blocked down by Michael Higgins. And certainly a lot of people might have wondered about Luke Doherty being in the Mayo senior panel earlier this year, Nigel. We didn't see him, of course. He didn't play league, he didn't play a championship. We wondered what sort of form he was in. He showed flashes today of just why James Horan has him in that Mayo senior panel.
He is, and he's what I call a James Horan type of player. He's a, you know, brilliant engine, can get up and down the field, you know, so, you know, and you'd hope these guys benefit hugely from being in that panel, and he has, and it's brilliant to come back into a team that we expect will have a run in the championship, you know, so he'll only improve. James Horan and the boys will get a chance to have more of a look at him, and they'll be delighted also.
Well, right now, off the ball, unfortunately, Conor Diskin is down, and he's been down since that last passage of play he was involved in. He seems to have been caught with a heavy tackle as James Shaughnessy fires the latest Claremorris chance wide. It's really now starting to get away from Claremorris down the home stretch. Their wide tally is out to 9.
Yeah,
but,
I think
this is a real issue now
got
for
a boot. He got a boot in a just a wayward boot, I think, right into the chest, sort of thing, and it winded him.
Well, we're in the 30th minute. It's all over bar the shouting, and I'm sure we'll have a bit of it when the final whistle sounds, because this is a big win for Ballina. They were raging hot favourites. All the pressure, as we said at the outset, was on them, but they have performed. They've delivered the performance needed. They've delivered the result, and they're right back in the mix again.
They have, and they're going to get three totally different types of games in the championship. Obviously, Ballintubber taught them a small bit of a lesson. We'll say the last day, Claremorris play open football. I would suggest the next day against Davits it will be far more dogged. Davits will get a lot of players behind the ball and try and get a result.
It really hasn't been Conor Diskin's day, and right now he's leaving the field injured by the looks of things. He's not going to be able to finish this game. Number 27, Conor McGuinness, is replacing him. Ray Kennelly has also brought on Kieran Gill in the last couple of moments as well to replace Pádraig Cummins. But look, Conor Diskin will have better days. He'll have bigger days. It just didn't happen for him today.
It is, and look at Conor Diskin is well marked, we'll say, by Pádraig O'Hora today. But it's not just simply a Pádraig O'Hora and Conor Diskin battle. All around him, Pádraig O'Hora's teammates are putting all the pressure. So Diskin hasn't got a great, he hasn't got a great supply of ball. You see that Ballina are picking out their guys with no pressure on it whatsoever, no pressure on the ball.
Some pass from Conor McStay, Evan Regan, and I don't know about you, Nigel, but if Evan Regan keeps this going, he mightn't be just the Mayo nutritionist next season, surely.
Absolutely. Evan Regan, as I say, is the same age as Killian O'Connor, 28, 29 years of age, and Evan Regan has been up and down, but it's something we're not blessed with. Is left-footed, as we've seen from free takers in Croke Park.
7 points for Evan Regan. Not bad for
work rate as well.
Stephen Ice, number 14. He's kicked them from frees. He's kicked them from play. We're into stoppage time here at James Stephens Park in Ballina, and what a game it's going to be when Claremorris play Ballintubber at a neutral venue in 2 weeks' time. It will be all on the line that day for Claremorris. Looked for a moment there like that move was going to end in disappointment as well, but Paul Lydon has given the benefit of the doubt to Sean Diskin. James Shaughnessy is inside on the edge of the square, being marked by Jerk Hafferty. Shock has his hand in the air. He wants it drilled in. It is drilled in. Hafferty flies through the air, gets the right fist to it. Still a great man to mind the house. Ball centre to James McCormack, and Claremorris finish with the goal. McCormack's gone down, and it's a penalty. Well, for sheer persistence alone, Claremorris deserved that. Sean Regan fouling James McCormack, and Paul Lydon says penalty.
Penalty. I'm just, thinking of the permutations here in my head, Mike. You know, the last game, depending on obviously what happens in the other game, you know, like, but Claremorris are probably going to have to beat Ballintubber in the last game and possibly beat them heavily, you know, so
this could be an important penalty.
Any goals they get at this stage will be a...
So it's James Shaughnessy against Gary Holmes. Claremorris looking for their first goal of the day, and it could be a big goal, and Shocks drills it home. There was no saving that. A goal for Claremorris, a goal for James Shaughnessy. It comes too late to affect the final outcome. It comes in the 33rd minute here in Ballina, 2:14 to 1-9. But who knows, down the line, those 3 points could be very precious
obviously
indeed.
Depends on the result, but if Ballintubber get the win they're expected to get over Davits, it means that Claremorris have to go and beat Ballintubber by, you know, Claremorris at the moment are minus, you know, had to lose by 5-8 points. They're -7 on scoring difference. You know, it's a huge uphill task. You know, I don't see Claremorris qualifying for the championship. Davits need to do them a huge favour today and beat Ballintubber, and then their game against Ballintubber would be a knockout. But they would have to improve hugely from this to play any more part of the championship.
I hear it being announced in the background. The bar is now open. Refreshments are being served. That'll be music to the ears of a lot of people here at James Stephens Park. Hot whiskies will be the order of the day. It's like a winter's day here. Nigel, I know everybody is curious to find out who the man of the match is from these big championship games. So who's on your shortlist and who's your man of the match?
My shortlist is Pádraig O'Hora. He was that good. He was absolutely. But Ballina had all the players are from the Ballina side. Sean Diskin, a full forward, was the pick-out player for Claremorris, and there was only one or two more. James Shaughnessy kicked a few ridiculous points, as you said. But on the other side, Conor McStay was outstanding. Evan Regan was outstanding. You know, they have some fantastic forwards. The one thing I will say, Mike, that we didn't mention was Ballina's tackling, you know, and it's not something we, you know, usually say about Ballina teams, that the big part of their game was tackling along with everything else. But in that capacity, Sean Regan was absolutely outstanding. But Pádraig O'Hora, because of the display he gave in man marking, Conor Diskin coming forward, setting up a number of scores, he was absolutely outstanding today, you know.
And there he is, right in the centre of your picture, Pádraig O'Hora, taking time to meet some young Stephenite supporters, having a quick word with some of the Claremorris lads as well. All's fair in love and war, as it were.
It's amazing. It's amazing you say it about, you know, people look at Pádraig O'Hora from afar and say he's a warrior and he's a dog. We've used in our time. He's such a nice guy off the field. You know, he takes time out with everybody. He goes to war with a guy out there. He'll always make sure he shakes hands and talks to people, and he's so highly regarded in the community here in Ballina. It's brilliant to see.
So that's it from James Stephens Park in Ballina on a day when the Stephenites scored 1-7 in the first half, 1-7 in the second half, held Claremorris to 3 points in the second half until deep into stoppage time, when James Shaughnessy scored that late goal from a penalty, but it came far too late to affect the final outcome or anything like it. So the Stephenites get their first win in Group 1. They draw alongside Claremorris in terms of points on the board, and it all comes down now to those third round matches in a fortnight's time, with the Stephenites playing Davits and Claremorris playing Ballintubber. Final scoreline then once again from this round 2 game in Group 1 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Football Championship. It finished Ballina Stephenites 2-14, Claremorris 1-9.
Sorry if I'm a bit late.
No probs, Dad. Still getting ready.
This butter is only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
That's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Brilliant. How do they do that?
I don't know, Dad. I'm not a dairy farmer. Just a woman trying to go on a date. Do I look okay?
I don't know. I'm not a stylist. I'm just a dad trying to help his favourite daughter go on a date.
You only have one daughter.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.